Growing up, the world revolved around my son, David. I remember his tiny fingers intertwined with mine as we walked through the park, the late afternoon sun casting golden rays across our path. Those walks were an adventure, each step a chance for me to impart wisdom and love. I can still feel the warmth of his laughter echoing in my heart, reminding me of the innocent joy of childhood. I cherished every moment spent nurturing his dreams, often sacrificing my own in the process. As a single mother, my days began before dawn, balancing jobs to put food on the table. The smell of freshly baked cookies filled our modest home, a sweet reminder that even in our struggles we found time for comfort. I would stand at the kitchen counter, flour dusting my hands, while David excitedly recounted tales from school. When he asked for help with his homework, I traded my fatigue for fervor, knowing that these were the building blocks of his future. I attended every school event, my heart swelling with pride as I watched him perform, each pause punctuated by the rustle of my supportive applause. I still recall that one rainy evening when I stood in line for hours to secure his spot in a coveted summer program, all while imagining the opportunities that awaited him. Yet, as he grew into a young adult, I noticed subtle shifts. The phone calls became less frequent, replaced with quick text messages that felt clipped and distant. The warmth that once encased our home slowly morphed into an uncomfortable chill. I brushed off the whispers of unease, attributing it to the natural ebb and flow of life, but I felt something deep within, a nagging sense that I was losing my son to something I couldn't quite touch. That something materialized when Hannah entered our lives. I remember the first time I met her, the way she swept into the room with an air of confidence that both intrigued and unnerved me. It should have felt like joining a family, yet from the beginning it felt like an intrusion. I tried to engage, to welcome her into our fold, yet she responded with sidelong glances and curt replies that left me questioning my worth. The warmth of family celebrations grew colder in her wake. Cousin reunions and holiday gatherings turned into showcases of her dominance, assertive and subtle at once. My attempts to nurture a bond with Lucas, so innocent and endearing, were met with thinly veiled criticism. "He doesn't need too much sugar. He'll spoil his appetite," Hannah would chirp, her voice saccharine yet sharp, as if my love for dessert was a flaw. Each interaction became a dance on a tightrope, where I struggled to maintain my pride while battling her insidious control. David seemed lost in her web, caught in a gaze that rendered him voiceless. I wanted to shake him awake and remind him of our countless memories, the stitched quilt of laughter, struggles, and triumphs that we had crafted together. Even now, I reminisce about those sunlit afternoons, how my heart raced with love for my son. I desperately want him to remember, to feel the earnest bond we had forged through shared moments. I ache for his recognition, yet it slips further from my grasp. As I stand at the precipice of my sweet memories and an uncertain reality, the mantra pulses softly in my mind. They can mute me at the table, never in my heart. I vow to reclaim that connection. I must find a way to break through the barriers Hannah has built around my son and my precious grandson. The first time I saw Hannah, I was taken aback by her presence, the way she commanded a room without even trying. David introduced her with a sense of pride swelling in his chest, his eyes sparkling with affection. I should have felt elated, but a cool breeze swept through me, warning that this vibrant woman might change the fabric of our family. Still, I welcomed her with open arms, eager to create a bond, hoping she would share in the fond memories I had of nurturing my son. At family gatherings, Hannah enveloped David in her world, resting her hand on his arm as she spoke. drawing his attention away from everyone around us. I found myself standing in the shadows, watching, as she told elaborate stories that captured his laughter a little too easily. I tried to engage with both of them, filling the air with nostalgia, perhaps reminding David of those moments when he was 5, pants stained with mud after we built a fort together. Yet, every attempt I made to reconnect met an icy wall. "Mom, you've told that one before," David would say with a forced chuckle, turning his focus back to Hannah, who tilted her head just enough to conceal her disdain, her eyes rolling in an unspoken commentary on my worthlessness. It wasn't just the words, it was the subtleties, the flares of annoyance, the detached smiles that shattered my confidence. Thanksgiving dinners transformed from a joyous gathering of family sharing stories over the warmth of freshly baked pies into a stage where Hannah's snide remarks stole the spotlight. One evening, while I prepared my signature apple pie, the aroma wafting through the kitchen, I overheard her muttering to David about how I always overdid it. It felt like a jab to my heart, sharp and merciless, and I stood there, knife in hand, struggling to smile, desperate for a morsel of affection from my son, hoping my efforts might somehow ignite a flicker of appreciation. With Lucas, it was even more complicated. He was my anchor, the light in my days, but the more I reached toward him, the tighter Hannah's grip became. "He has a routine, Grandma. You know how important that is," she would say lightly, as if I were a novice in the world of parenting. The glue that I thought connected us began to dissolve, sticking more to the facade Hannah created rather than the love I had for Lucas. Once at a family birthday party, I knelt down to speak with Lucas, playing with the wrapping paper from his gifts. His laughter filled my soul with brightness, but Hannah swooped in, declaring with an overly cheerful tone, "Time to clean up, Lucas. Grandma can't spoil you too much." I noticed David stood near, his eyes darting from her to me, unable to intervene, as if drawn into a chaotic orbit. I sensed the distance between us, and it stunned me. My heart ached for my boy, while anger simmered toward her calculated control. I watched for signs, for moments when David could break free, but each exchange between them felt rehearsed, like they were in a play where I had become a mere background character. It filled me with dread, a feeling that Hannah was deliberately orchestrating this subtle separation to bolster her own narrative. Conversations that used to flow like a warm river had turned into trickles of stilted exchanges, punctuated by Hannah's barbed comments. When I shared stories about my childhood, her laughter felt disingenuous, tinged with mockery. I wondered if David noticed the way his wife took pleasure in my discomfort, but it seemed he was blissfully unaware. "Wouldn't it be more fun to do it just like this?" Hannah once laughed, demonstrating how to create decorations for an upcoming family event. She casually dismissed my long-held traditions, those sacred rituals that had once breathed life into our gatherings. It was as if my emotions, my history, no longer mattered. All that counted was her vision of family. In these interactions, I could sense the mounting tension, a tightrope I walked with delicate balance. I wanted to scream and shake free of Hannah's grip, yet I felt paralyzed by love for David. I did my best to keep my dignity intact. I did not want to be the elderly mother fighting against a perceived enemy. I was a summation of sacrifice and love, gentle yet resilient, albeit neglected and unnoticed. As the echoes of laughter filled the quiet corners of my mind, all while I quietly grieved what had been, I reaffirmed my mantra: "They can mute me at the table, never in my heart." I refuse to be pushed away. I will find a way to cherish the moments with Lucas, restore the love that binds us, and not let Hannah extinguish the fiery bond I have as a grandmother. No longer would I stand back, defeated by cruel intentions. Shifts were brewing, and I would not remain a passive observer. Days blend together as I navigate through the silence that sits between us. Each family gathering becomes a treacherous landscape filled with hidden daggers. There are no loud arguments or overtly harsh words, but the atmosphere simmers with a tension that cuts just as deeply. My heart aches with each passing moment, bearing witness to Hannah's meticulous orchestration of my exclusion. It starts subtly. David and Hannah will arrive and greet me with a beaming smile, but I sense the rehearsed nature behind it. They stand together like a united front as I hover awkwardly beside them. "Oh, we have our weekend all planned out. Can't wait to take Lucas to the fair," she announces, her voice lilting with excitement. But the implied boundaries in her words leave no room for me. I smile, wishing to share in their joy, but the bitterness seeps through the cracks of my facade. The holidays add fuel to the fire. I adore Christmas. It's a time of warmth, love, and connection. Yet, each cheerful outing feels like a slap in the face. I decorate my home with nostalgic ornaments, old photos reminding me of David's childhood. As I carefully unwrap each piece, longing fills my heart. I check my phone multiple times, hoping to hear from them, just a simple invitation or a phone call. Instead, I receive a generic group text with a picture of Hannah and David smiling broadly. Lucas perched on David's shoulders, all adorned with Santa hats. "Family fun day," the message chirps. The joy radiating from their faces stings like a fresh wound. I feel the darkness creeping into my chest, heavy with unspoken anguish. Instead of wallowing, I keep busy. I throw myself into cooking and baking, creating my specialties, determined to make my home a warm refuge even amid the growing chill. But my heart sinks further each time I bring over a dish, only to find Hannah's remarks slicing through my intentions. "Eleanor, isn't that a bit much for just a small gathering?" She chuckles, a dual jab at my food and my choices. During one family dinner, I attempt to share a story from David's childhood about the time he got lost in the corn maze. As I recount the adventure, a familiar warmth envelops me, carrying me back to those sweet, innocent days. The table fills with laughter, my heart swelling, momentarily forgetting her disdain. But then, Hannah leans over and interrupts. "Mom, we've heard that one a dozen times already." Her tone is light, deceptively so, but the impact hits hard. David shifts uncomfortably in his chair, avoiding my gaze. It's as though I'm standing on an island, surrounded by the cool waves of indifference. I watch as he falters, the moment slipping away from him. It feels like I'm losing a battle, not only against Hannah, but against my own son. Humiliation washes over me like a cold tide. I realize I am the unwilling punchline to a joke I'm not in on. These silent humiliations are wearing me down, eroding my resolve slowly but surely. After a particularly hard evening, I retreat to my bedroom, the crisp smell of lavender from my sachets hanging heavy in the air. I pick up my journal, pouring my heart onto its pages. Each whimper in ink reveals the depth of my sorrow, a map of the hurt they inflict, insults disguised as offhand comments, rejection veiled in jokes, love twisted into something that feels like a privilege I can no longer afford. These words become my refuge, a testament to what I once cherished. With each entry, I recount moments, David's victories, his laughter, the holidays when our home vibrated with joy, all overshadowed by Hannah's continuous efforts to rewrite our family narrative. My writing becomes my weapon, charging me with the silent fury of 1,000 unspoken words. I can't allow her voice to drown out my story. On Tuesday, I invite them over for tea, hoping for a tranquil space to salvage our connection. I prepare my finest silverware, the china with the blue blossoms, laying out an assortment of my favorite pastries, the sweet scent mingling with the crisp aroma of fresh tea. As they walk in, I wait for the warmth of recognition to grace David's face, that flicker of gratitude for all these years of loving him unconditionally. Instead, Hannah strides in, alert and commanding, her eyes scanning my home with narrow disapproval. "Wow, Grandma," she smirks, glancing at my carefully set table. "You really don't need to go all out for tea. We didn't come for a banquet." My breath hitches. Her casual tone bears the weight of 1,000 dismissals. The initial warmth drains from the room. As I serve tea, I focus on filling Lucas's cup, determined to create a moment just for us. But Hannah's quick, sharp reprimand cuts through my efforts. "Lucas, be careful not to spill. Grandma can't afford to make a mess." With every jab, I feel a tightening in my chest, raw embarrassment smothering me like a heavy blanket. David, now failing to defend me, watches, the silence stretching uncomfortably between us. My heart races, thoughts swirling in chaos. I silently vow, this is enough. They can mute me at the table, never in my heart. I let that mantra echo in my mind, determinedly guiding me through this fog of humiliation. I refuse to be broken. The following week, I attend Lucas's school play, my heart swelling with excitement as I navigate the familiar hallways, memories flooding back from when David was in those very same shoes, spiritedly hamming it up on stage. The atmosphere is electric. Laughter and chatter fill the air, parents mingling, clapping hands, capturing each moment on their phones as the children scurry around in whimsical costumes. I can't help but feel a pang of nostalgia as the lights begin to dim. I find a spot to sit where I can fully see Lucas, sparkling with youthful energy on stage. It's but a brief moment, but the sight rekindles a warmth within me. His cheerful face beams as he waves to the audience, acknowledgement sparkling in his eyes as he scans the crowd. Our connection feels palpable, electric. I know he feels my presence, and it sends a rush of joy through me. But the warmth of the moment fades like the dying glow of an ember. Hannah appears beside me, a queen surveying her realm. "You're in the right spot," she comments dryly, crossing her arms with a petulant tilt of her head. "Just imagine if you were in front of someone important." The insult is thinly veiled, and I can't help but flinch. "I'm just here to see Lucas shine," I reply, my voice steadier than my heart feels. Yet I can't shake off the feeling of her gaze, sharp and scrutinizing. It's not enough to attend the play. I need to prove my love for my grandson, to dismantle the walls that keep me apart from them. As the performance picks up, I notice Lucas standing in the spotlight, radiating pride. I'm all there, just him and me, until suddenly Hannah stands to the side, nudging David, whispering beneath the raucous laughter of the audience. I catch snippets of their laughter, her words laced with scorn, punctuating my triumph with mockery. "He's such a natural, isn't he? Too bad he didn't inherit any talent from his grandma." The laughter around me rings hollow like an echo of my past, reminding me of moments I've cherished. And here is Hannah, wielding her tongue like a serrated knife. Each jab strikes deep, the atmosphere thickening around me. I might as well be in a cage, the rancid stench of jealousy swirling around me as I sit, exposed and vulnerable. David remains oblivious to her barbs, lost in admiration for his wife's wit. As the play unfolds, I feel a whirlwind of emotions. Lucas performs brilliantly, yet with every round of applause from the audience, Hannah leans closer, whispering, "You know, if his acting doesn't pan out, he could always take up a simple job like working in retail." Another blow lands, the sting sharp and shocking. My breath catches. I glance at her, disbelief etched in my features. It's as if she found pleasure in tearing down what little pride remains in my heart. Once the curtains close, applause erupts, and Lucas embraces a bouquet of flowers, beaming with joy as he steps off the stage. In that moment, everything else fades, a small, sweet solstice of familial pride. As I rise to congratulate him, ready to take him into my arms, I see Hannah swoop in first, enveloping him in a hug, her presence enveloping him like a dark cloud. "See, it's not so hard to enjoy when folks like us are around," she coos, her voice dripping with condescension. My heart races again, fueled by hurt. I stand back, watching them, each pulse of disappointment anchoring itself hard within me. I want to scream, to say something, anything, to protect my grandson from her toxic touch. Finally, I muster the courage to stride over, my palms clammy with anticipation. "Lucas, I'm so proud of you. You were incredible." I reach to touch his shoulder, but Hannah stands firm, blocking my attempt, and her eyes narrow with resistance. "Too much excitement won't do him any good," she sasses lightly, still grasping Lucas's reverberating happiness. I catch David's eyes, searching for a shred of support, but there's only silence, as if he's waiting for a tide to turn, unconsciously tethered to Hannah's compelling presence. Desperation swells in my chest as Lucas turns toward me, his eyes flickering with confusion. "Grandma, I—" But before he can finish, Hannah interrupts, shaking her head. "He has to go get ready for dinner." Her grip tightens on his tiny shoulders, leading him away. I stand there, invisible, the rumble of laughter and joy sweeping past me like waves crashing on a distant shore. I blink away, moisture pooling at the corners of my eyes, fighting against the tide of humiliation that washes over me. A moment later, I spot a few other parents glance my way, their expressions a mix of surprise and pity, a reminder of how far I've fallen from the pedestal of familial love to which I had once aspired. The moment is sharp, and I feel that surge of indignation bubbling in the quiet depths of my soul. I take a breath, slow and deep, letting it fill the void in my chest. I refuse to succumb to humiliation. Leaving the auditorium, I clutch my empty hands, palms still stinging from what felt like a brilliant performance turned sour. The laughter around the hall returns, bright and joyous, but inside I am quieter than ever. I shouldn't allow Hannah to dictate my self-worth. I must stand tall, reclaim my place, not as an observer but as the proud matriarch of this family. They can mute me at the table, never in my heart. My mantra echoes now more than ever, a steady drumbeat in the background. A seed of determination forms. Now I must act, not just react. I will reclaim my dignity. It is my birthright. The drive home feels surreal, the sky dimming as dusk settles like a blanket over the day. My heart throbs in defiance of all that just transpired. Several times I have to remind myself to breathe, pulling air into my lungs as if each inhale could fortify my resolve, a shield against the hurt that lingers. I'm tired of being the invisible grandmother at the mercy of Hannah's tyranny, plotted into the shadows of my own family. After a long, tepid evening spent alone, I retreat into the sanctuary of my kitchen, its familiar sights offering a semblance of comfort. The sunlight pouring through the window dances on the walls, casting warm reflections that soothe my spirit. I pull a few ingredients from the pantry, my hands moving with confidence as I commit to creating something special. A peach cobbler, a sweet nod to the warm days of summer spent picking fruit with David and celebrating with friends. As I mix the ingredients together, my thoughts drift to the playground of memories where laughter filled the air. Yet, bittersweet reminders of today's cruel reality tug at my heart. Still, the rhythm of my hands works as a balm. I want to prepare something not just back for Lucas, but a reminder of the love that had built our family, a family Hannah seems so eager to rewrite. This time, things are shifting. I remember the advice a friend shared once: never let anyone tell your story for you. Those words rattle in my mind, igniting something deep within. I can find a way forward through the chaos, a plan to reclaim my place in the family. The following days are filled with quiet preparations, each task imbued with newfound purpose. I compile a photo album, selecting snapshots from David's childhood, a visual tapestry that illustrates our shared journey. I want to re-establish that connection, to show Lucas where he comes from and the love that binds us together. I begin to pen heartfelt letters, page after page, where I express my love for him, hoping to bridge the gap those bitter moments have created. Then, I reach out to other family members who have shared in our laughter over the years. I plan a gathering, a reunion where I can invite everyone and highlight the richness of our family history, the traditions Hannah has so eagerly dismissed. I imagine serving my peach cobbler and strong coffee, surrounding them with cherished memories that remind them of the family we once were, a deliberate contrast to Hannah's shallow claims. For the first time in what feels like an eternity, I feel empowered. The thought of David and those distant relatives gathered in my home fills me with a sense of control that has long been absent. I refuse to passively accept disrespect. Instead, I will show them all that I matter, that I've been here through thick and thin, that love prevails over manipulation. As I put together the invitations, the act becomes a catharsis. I write, "Let's celebrate family," and include the time and date, imagining their faces lit with memories as they reminisce over old stories woven into the fabric of our shared past. There's anticipation strumming in the air. I can almost feel it as it builds. When the day finally arrives, my heart flutters with hope, tempered by anxiety. My home takes on a new life. The kitchen bursts with the sense of home-cooked meals, the living room brimming with vibrant photographs, each image carefully placed to draw in those who cross the threshold. There's laughter already floating through the air from the relatives who arrive early, and I allow myself to breathe, to actually feel a tinge of joy. Hannah strides in with David and Lucas at her side, her presence unmistakable. But I refuse to let her wind sweep me off my feet. I stay rooted, determined. This time, she glances at my carefully arranged decorations, her expression a mask of condescension. "Eleanor, how quaint," she remarks lightly, but I hear the coarseness beneath her tone. I meet her gaze, unwavering while my heart quickens. "It's about recalling our history and sharing it with Lucas," I respond firmly, the conviction nesting in my words. Small ripples of surprise ripple through the gathering, and I can almost hear the collective breath as they take in my defiance. The evening unfolds, and as I circulate the room, serving peach cobbler, sharing sweet memories, an undercurrent of tension remains. I catch David every now and then, his brow sometimes furrowed as he watches Hannah, who's regaling guests with self-absorbed stories. Yet, something shifts when Lucas approaches me, his eyes bright. He clutches the letter I wrote him, small, and inked with the weight of my essence. "Did you really do all this, Grandma?" he asks, awe brimming in his voice. I lean down, drawing him closer, the warmth of his small body reminding me of the light of my days gone by. "Every moment is special because of you," I whisper, my heart bursting with pride. The conflict between Hannah and me escalates as the evening stretches. She becomes increasingly agitated, her attempts to dominate conversations met with my own quiet strength. As I effortlessly guide the narrative back to the reverence of our family traditions, I begin to see David's eyes adjust, his tension releasing piece by piece. When the time comes for stories, I invite everyone to share their favorite memories. With each recollection, the old bonds between us start weaving together once more. Tales of barbecues on summer evenings, family trips to the lake, the love that blossomed amidst our shared lives. It feels like uncovering the roots of our existence, a foundation we can stand on together. As laughter fills the room, I finally sense Hannah's discomfort brewing beneath her surface. With each fond word shared, her grip on the narrative loosens, and David seems to grow more at ease. I notice how he picks up the stories, adding his own flair as he recalls moments long forgotten, armed with snippets of childhood only I could bring back. And for the first time, I see Hannah bristle at the seams, her astonishment growing visible as the night flows on, its magic tethering each of us together. In the crescendo of laughter, I realize that my mantra now rings true. They can mute me at the table, never in my heart. I stand taller, the core of my being pulsing with warmth. I have regained my strength, renewed and vibrant. No longer will I allow Hannah to dictate my worth. I will redefine my story, transferring the power back into my hands. As the night winds down, whispers of nostalgia settle in the corners of our hearts. I can feel ties strengthening, frayed not by cruelty but by love. As the evening unfolds, I can feel the air around me shift. The laughter and warmth create a tapestry of renewed family bonds, titillating promise woven through the threads of our shared narratives. Despite Hannah's fury vibrating beneath the surface, I can taste victory, a sweet delicacy I have longed for amidst the bitterness. The kitchen is alive with clinking glasses, and the table holds the remnants of our favorite dishes. The soft lighting casts a gentle glow on faces I love, faces I fought to bring closer together. A sense of responsibility surges within me. This is just the beginning. I gather my courage, channeling it into a battle plan. I've been passive for too long, relegated to the background. Hannah's attempts to usurp my place in David's life had been allowed to fester, but this event has sparked my resolve. I want more than just an evening of nostalgia. I want an enduring connection with Lucas, one that will anchor him against the shifting tides of manipulation. By the end of this gathering, I plan to implement my strategy in a way that will align Lucas with the love I have poured into him, a legacy she cannot extinguish. I envision gatherings in the future, filled with laughter and warmth, every bit as vibrant as tonight, something that can't be brushed aside so easily. His eyes light up, shining like the stars I often point out when we stargaze. I motion for him to join me at the table, where the last remnants of peach cobbler glisten invitingly. I've been thinking about starting a new family tradition, and it needs the involvement of my favorite grandson. "What is it, Grandma?" he asks, bouncing on his feet. I watch him, my heart swelling. Here is the future, the one I will shape, the one that shines outside of Hannah's influence. "We're going to create a family recipe book," I say, feeling each word imbue us with purpose, one filled with stories and memories, where you can gather everyone's favorite dishes and the tales that go with them. "What do you think?" "Really? That sounds awesome." His enthusiasm is infectious, and I bask in the warmth of his excitement. "I thought," I say, leaning closer, "that we could gather everyone's cherished recipes and memories, making it our very own. You could even share yours." "I want to share my breakfast pancakes," he chirps, his eyes gleaming with pride. "Perfect. With a sprinkle of love from Grandma, of course. We can make this the best book in the world." I smile, feeling my spirits rise. We can keep the stories alive, preserved in ink and paper, and more importantly, connected through love. While Lucas and I plot our culinary adventure, I steal glances at the other guests. David's demeanor has shifted. His tension has eased significantly. I see him chatting casually with my distant relatives, laughing as they reminisce. The bond he creates with them, coupled with Lucas's innocent excitement, doesn't just feel like a victory. It feels like liberation. As more family members approach, I seize the opportunity to share my idea, allowing them to join in Lucas's excitement. I mention the idea of each person contributing not only their recipes, but also a cherished memory associated with it. The energy lifts another notch, a community's warmth enveloping us. I feel Hannah's eyes narrowing, her control slipping from her grasp as she observes the energy brewing around us. "Isn't this a little too sentimental, Eleanor?" she interjects, her tone dripping with condescension. I turn towards her, ready. "Isn't that the heart of family, Hannah? The little things that make us who we are?" I can feel the forcefulness in my voice, a mountain of love propelling my defense. It feels electric, empowering me further. Her expression falters, surprise flickering in her eyes. "I suppose," she replies unconvincingly. "Why don't you join us? Share something that brings us all together," I suggest, smiling warmly despite the tension crackling in the air. I refuse to back down, my heart anchored firmly in love, determined that this evening will be a reclamation of my narrative. Over the next hour, Lucas and I record snippets from the adults, stories spanning generations, threaded with humor, heartache, and joy. I watch the communal magic unfurl as their faces brighten and weariness dissipates. Each recipe comes with a slice of memory. Grandma's famous lasagna that fed my family through every 4th of July. Aunt Lily's spiced apple pie, the scent weaving through our home like an embrace. As I write the stories, each word bears witness to the love that has always been there. I feel the weight of family pressing around me, gathering closer as Hannah observes from the periphery, her power waning. Then, as the culmination of my plan approaches, I sense it, the perfect moment unspooling amidst the laughter. I clear my throat, capturing everyone's attention. "Lucas and I have come up with a little surprise," I say, my heart bursting. "We'd like to unveil our family recipe idea earlier than expected." A hush falls over the room, anticipation hanging in the air like sweet incense. I beckon Lucas forward, and together we present a laminated recipe card featuring his breakfast pancake recipe, crayons and doodles scattering across its surface. The playful energy ripples through the gathering as it dawns on them. This is more than just a recipe. It's a connection, a thread weaving them back to the heart of our lineage. Lucas beams, pride radiating from him as he shares the story behind his pancakes, Saturday mornings of laughter and syrup-sticky fingers. The radiant glow steps beyond Hannah's dark shadow, awakening warmth all around. The applause that follows feels like a reset button pressed firmly in place. Each family member praises not just his recipe, but our joint effort, their smiles ignited with reminiscence and, ultimately, acceptance. I catch David's eye again, and the silent gratitude written upon his features is enough to ignite an ember of hope. I feel buoyant, empowered as I glance towards Hannah, who stands her ground but with less certainty now. She forces a smile, trying to reclaim some semblance of control, her tightly guarded laughter betraying her discomfort. It's a slight victory, but a victory nonetheless. As the evening wanes and laughter ebbs, I know this wave I've set in motion isn't merely a one-off event. It's the dawn of an era for our family, a tradition formed from love, intertwined in the story of who we are. I've officially reclaimed my narrative, not simply retelling it, but building it anew. They may mute me at the table, but I will not let anyone silence my heart. It beats resolutely now, a song of renewal as our lives entwine in vibrant color. As the applause fades, I sense the atmosphere change, vibrating with a mix of anticipation and tension. Everyone in the room feels it, like the calm before the storm, and, among them, I can see that Hannah, standing rigid with her arms crossed, is beginning to lose her tenuous grip on control. With the laughter and chatter surrounding the revelation of Lucas's pancake recipe, I recognize my opportunity has arrived. It's time for me to step forward again, to speak my truth, unvarnished and authentic. My heart quickens, pounding like a drum that keeps urging me on. Everyone, I say, raising my voice enough to capture the room's attention. I have something important to say, something that's been heavy on my heart. A hush sweeps through the crowd, eyes turning towards me. Lucas looks up at me, a mixture of excitement and concern etched on his small face. I want to ensure he understands the significance of the moment, not just for me, but for all of us. I've spent a long time feeling like a ghost in my own family, I admit, feeling the weight of unspoken words lift as I finally confront the elephant in the room. I felt dismissed, undermined. Hannah has often treated my love and presence as secondary to her own desires. Hannah shifts uncomfortably, but I press on, drawing strength from the warmth of my family surrounding me. It's important that Lucas and all of you know our history, the struggles and triumphs that bind us together. He should know about the love that has weathered storms, not just the sweetness of recipes. People exchange glances, surprise mixed with swelling acceptance. The family's collective silence feels sturdy, as if anchoring me. I see David, standing slightly behind Hannah, his eyes widening. It's clear he's beginning to understand the hurt I've endured all along. Injustice can silence voices. I continue, my words gaining force, but I refuse to let anyone blot out my narrative any longer. This journey has revealed that Lucas must know he carries our legacy, one built on love, perseverance, and resilience. Hannah's facade cracks slightly, her previous confidence giving way to unease. I realize that by shedding light on my struggles, I'm not just liberating myself, I'm empowering Lucas, offering him a foundation of strength. I've watched our family fracture, held captive by misunderstandings and hostilities, I add, my voice steady. But tonight, amidst laughter and stories, I see the possibility of healing, the chance to not only rewrite our narratives, but to embrace one another wholeheartedly. David finally steps forward. Mom, I had no idea how much you've carried. I see now how unfairly you've been treated. His voice falters but is strong. We have to change this. With every word spoken, I feel the cloud over our family slowly beginning to lift. The scattered moments of laughter transform into a meaningful, united force. As David speaks, I watch Hannah struggle with the weight of his acknowledgement. I don't want to lose my family over conflicts that can be resolved, he goes on, glancing at Hannah and then back to me. Let's build a bond together, not allow anything to tear us apart. This is the moment I've been waiting for, a chance for all of us to pursue reconciliation. We can celebrate both the struggles and the joy, I say, tears glistening at the edges of my vision. Let's create new traditions that can unite us. Lucas, sensing the shift in energy, chimes in. I think my pancakes can help. A family recipe book would be cool. Laughter erupts again, genuine this time, breaking the tension that had once loomed over us. Even Hannah's forced smile seems to soften into something resembling sincerity. I watch her as she stares at our connection, the way Lucas serves as the catalyst for our revival. We can do this, I encourage everyone. Share the stories, the sweet and the bitter, all that makes us a true family. It's a collective awakening, and I know that tonight we aren't just celebrating a single recipe. We are offering something far greater, a chance to unite, a commitment to authenticity. The gathering isn't merely a reprieve, it's a profound turning point. In that moment, I understand this is more than just me reclaiming my narrative. It's a recognition that together we can become stronger, united by love. Hannah shifts again, visibly adjusting to her new role, one not beholden to fear or dominance, but rooted in collaboration. And as the room fills with renewed laughter and hope, I breathe deeply, knowing we are finally stepping into a future we can all embrace together.